We are the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association.
We are the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association.
Business in Pennsylvania.
And business in Pennsylvania is our business.
With your background as a teacher, and obviously being the wife of a governor, there's a lot of talk about this Common Core thing. When I watch people argue it and throw insults at each other on the internet or wherever they happen to be arguing it, it seems to me like people don't always even understand what they're arguing about. So what do you think about the Common Core standards? You were a teacher, you're a parent. Tell me about what you see.
Well, I think it's an interesting issue because what's happened with what we think of a Common Core is very different than what people understand. So, and you have to go back to how it was developed. So originally it was an idea of the National Governors Association. And because governors across the state were hearing that kids were not prepared for college, for a career, for the military. And so the original idea was to develop standards that every school should meet. And they were minimal standards. You should be able to read and write and that sort of thing. Well, then it got usurped and it became something very different at the federal level, where it was expanded and was much more specific about what was supposed to be taught. It was implemented the implementation was begun in Pennsylvania during the previous administration. So when Tom came into office, he said, no, this is not the way we need. We need to allow the schools more local control, and this was not supposed to be a federal program.
Hence the birth of Pennsylvania Core.
Right, and I think what should have happened is that they used a different word than core, because the animal that or the curriculum that we're looking at or that the governor has looked at is very different than the one that was introduced in the previous administration. And so because there was a lot of confusion about it, they just put it on hold until there was time to communicate better to the public of what we were talking about, what does this thing actually look like in Pennsylvania, because it's a Pennsylvania solution to making sure that kids are prepared for the next step.
It seems like you think it's one of those things that the spirit of the idea was a good idea, but it was handled poorly by the federal government, which, what don't they handle poorly these days? But, it's a good idea. Something needs to be done in
definitely.
the classrooms.
When you have kids that are graduating and they don't have the mastery of just the minimum things, then you got a problem. So there has to be a way to assure that the basics are there. The basics used to be in schools, and they need to be back.